today we're going to be taking a look at my settings on the Manticore. So we're going to cover that. The coin's in there somewhere underneath all that lot. I've been out of it now for a good few times. Still lots to learn, still sussing it out, you know, I haven't had it loads. But I'm getting through it. I'm understanding everything that's on there really. And quite a few people have been asking me, what settings you using, mate? What settings you using? So I want to give them the settings. Been working absolutely brilliant. These might change as I progress over the years, over the months or whatever. But at the minute, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm enjoying the machine. The iron issue. I think all machines can dig iron. You can get tricked by iron. The Manticore, you've got to suss it. You've got to suss it out. Same as the 900. You get the signals, and it sounds. You've got to trust the machine more than before. The machine's better and faster at deciphering what's crap and what's not. It's never 100%. With the Manticore, you'll get a signal and you'll be second guessing it even before you look at the screen. You think, that sounds a bit iffy. Not an iffy signal. An iffy signal's when you've got the iron and you've got a good target and you're like, is that a digger? And if you can get that, even though you've got the iron there, if you hear it or not, if you can get that signal to repeat as you're going over it, it's worth having a look at. With the Manticore, I think still early days, I prefer to have the iron audio on so you can hear the iron. So you turn the iron filter off. And when you can hear the iron, it's easier to identify if there's iron in the area underneath the coil as such, and a good target. I'm using very little ferrous limits. With the ferrous limits, it's like say if you're using the 800, it's like FE and F2. FE is the top of your screen, which is your small nails and stuff like that, and larger nails as it goes up towards the other end, but most of your small nails will come in the middle of that section. And when you see what I've done, I've got rid of the nails at the top of the ferrous limit, not massive, only a little line, and then I've stepped it slightly, because that's just from what I've learned so far, the iron comes in like that. Different fields it might be slightly different. You might have to bring your ferrous limits up and down a little bit to suit, but the less you use on the iron bias as such, the ferrous limits, the more chance you've got of separating good targets next to iron. And I've set up a little test there. I'll go through my settings after. I just want to show you like what the ferrous limits does and the effects it has when you've got here, what you'll see in a minute, you've got coke, which comes in at 1 and 2. You've got a nail, which I think is in the 40s, and then you've got some ionized rock, which is I think that's in the 20s, and all that will drown out the signal on most machines, and it will drown out if you've got your ferrous limits up too high. I'll demonstrate that now. Have a quick look. I've got to hold the camera, so it might be a bit shaky. Have a look at this. Okay, so we go to the standard. This is a high. A lot of people probably wouldn't use that in the field. This is the extremities. This is everything up. So the upper limit's at 14, the lower at 9. Let's just go over this. I will remove the coin first so you can hear what's going on. Out of the way. We're in ultra fast. Definite iron. Let's slide that little coin in. Right in the middle of all that. That's a tricky situation. The nail's elevated. The coin's in the middle of it all. There's a lot going on there. So with this is just a demonstration. When you've got your ferrous limits as full as that, it's got no chance of separating the unwanted targets to the good target. So if I just quickly flip to mine, that's my the way I've set it now, my custom. Nothing on the bottom. You might get some bottle caps come up, but you also get some Romans come up this end. So I'm a bit weary about putting it on. Very little on the top. And I've used this out in the field and it works lovely. So now, oh shit. Put that back there. That's a pretty fast. What's recovery speed we're on? 6. So I could go faster, but we leave it at 6. I'll just show you what happens if you go too low on your recovery speed to get depth. If there's iron in the ground, like you're searching and you've got a low recovery speed, unless you go slow, you're going to struggle. So 6, not a problem. Let's quickly show you what it's like with the ferrous limits on again. You're losing it. Let's adjust that. Let's say 7 instead of 14, 8 instead of 14. We'll go to the lower and drop that to 3. Should be a bit better now. You see what's happening on the screen? That's why when your ferrous limit's too far down, there's no way of getting that good target that's mingled with all the other targets to come through. See how it's bleeding down? When it bleeds down and your ferrous limits are too much on the screen, it's still in the iron range because your ferrous limits is where it gives you the iron tone. What I will show you, just so you know it's not falsing. So I've got the ferrous limits as I would use it in the field. Just slide that coin out. That's all still exactly the same. Just so you know, you're not going to get tricked by. You will still get tricked by on any settings sometimes, but it's not that much. Look, this is quite open. Ferrous limits open, nothing on the bottom. Everything's still the same. Just iron. So what's that telling you? You've got to use your ferrous limits, your sensitivity, your ground balance, your noise cancel. Everything works together. So when you're in the field, you need to learn how. I can give you settings which will help you in the field for a lot of the time, but there's certain times where it's maybe even more iron. So then you've got to lower your ferrous limits, you've got to up your activity speed, bring your sensitivity down a bit. If you've got your sensitivity looking at that much ground and it's loads of iron and there's 50, 100 nails in the ground and you're looking at all of them nails at all that depth, you've got no chance. So if you halve your sensitivity, you're only looking at half the nails, so you're only going over 20 nails, you've got more chance of seeing the target in the nails. It's a balancing act. So that's the ferrous limits. I hope you can understand that a little bit better. If the more you have on that ferrous limits, the less iron you're going to dig and the less falsing you're going to get. You're just going to get a solid iron tone. But you're not going to be able to separate the iron and the good target when you've got a higher ferrous limit. The less you have on the ferrous limit, you can separate and get the small targets, little thin tiny hammer coins in amongst all the minerals and iron, but you might get tricked a little bit more by iron, but at the trade-off it's well worth it, isn't it? You don't mind digging 10-15 pieces of iron on a mega patch and get 10-15 Roman coins or hammer coins, because if you don't do that and you just leave your ferrous limits maxed out and your sensitivity all the way up and that, you're just going to get loads of falsing and you've got no chance of punching through to see the good target. A little demonstration of the recovery speed as well, it's just showing you a bit more. So we're going to cover that. The coin's in there somewhere underneath all that lot. It should get this, but I don't think it's going to get it in a minute. Right, we're in recovery speed of 3. Everything's the same as I had it before, just recovery speed's changed.
4, 5. Little flutter coming through. 6. A bit better. 7. 8. That's rapid, isn't it? Let's turn that down again. 3.
Don't be afraid to use 7 and 8 on the recovery speed. If you're on a field and there's loads of iron, in the UK it's like medieval or mainly Roman sites and there's a blanket of iron. If you're using 5, you've got to slow everything down, which you would anyway, and it's still going to miss 60-70% of the targets. And when it's like that, even if you had it on 1 and you wanted to go super deep, you're not going to get depth because the iron will just drain everything out. And at 1, there's no point going to 1 because you're never going to punch that deep. So going up to 7 or 8, which say if it's normally at 5 or 6, go up to 7 or 8, yeah, your depth might go from that to that, but you won't even get that depth in that iron infested area. But what you will do, you're going to get, like you've just seen there, tiny little coins or stuff masked by a load of different items. There's always coke, there's the ionised rock, nails. It's all there in the ground, especially on a Roman site or a mega ancient site where there's been loads of activity. If you're trying to punch deep on a site like that, you've got no chance. Speed it up a bit. 7 and 8 is absolutely brilliant on this machine. It's rapid fire, and it will, like you just seen on that test, that's a mega test. That is, not many machines will pass that. Manticore's doing it, and I'm well impressed. Right, enough waffle. I'll quickly go through all the settings now, and you can put them into your machine, have a little go at them, see how you get on. If you enjoy them, leave me a comment on the video or on Facebook, and that'll let me know you're getting on. Don't forget 50-50.
Multi-frequency, always use multi-frequency when you can. Sometimes if you're getting EMI off, electric pulsing, electric fencing and stuff, whatever EMI, sometimes single frequency can help, 20-40 kilohertz. This is what I like. Everyone's different, but I like to have normal, simple on the profile. When you use enhance and stuff like that, it's got like a filter in it. It's easier to identify targets that are at depth, but when you use enhance, it's got a filter in it which can filter out some of the very faint deep targets. This is just what I've found so far. Things might change, I might start using it, but at the minute, especially if you're new to the Manticore and you want to just the signals to bang out, normal, push edit, go down, simple, back out. 5 tones. This is where it gets interesting what I've done. So let me turn that. Oh yeah, iron volume's on. This is 5 tones. So let's have a look at the 5 tones. Push the edit button. This is what I've done. You might have to write this down. So each square is where you set your tone breaks, and the line in the middle is where you set the volume. Tone 1, go to the second red, which will say tone end at the top, and have that at 4. That's it gets rid of your coke and it stops it falsing on the coke as well. If you have it at 2 where coke is, sometimes it'll false and it'll bleed through. So at the minute that might change, it might come lower. If I was on a mega site, I'd drop that down to 2 and just to open it up a little bit more. But so far I've found it really nice at 4. If you're on a site and you're getting tricked by, well not tricked, but you're getting pestered by tiny bits of foil or tiny bits of lead, and you have to weigh up the probability. And if you think, I want to dig 5,000 bits of lead to maybe 1 good item, so what you could do then, say if it's coming in at 7s, at your own peril, because you might lose stuff, you could push edit and bring that across to whatever target you want, just to get rid of the small stuff. It's got a pitch of 1, so this, it was saying like an iron tone. This is set, so it was saying the same as where I've set the ferrous limits. So I'll ignore whatever I've set there as an iron tone. Back out, go to the next one. So this is a pitch of 20. Obviously it starts at 5, ends at 18. That's all your small targets. So as soon as you go over it, you know it's going to be a smaller target. Little cut halves, stuff like that, quarters. Okay, so the next one, what I've done is like it's a 5 tone, but I've set it like a 4 tone. Iron, low, good, mid, high. I'm waffling on. Let's go to the start again. Tone 1, end at 4, a pitch of 1. Tone 2, starts at 5, ends at 18, a pitch of 20. Tone 3, starts at 19, ends at 42, a pitch of 39. Tone 4 starts at 43, ends at 67, also a tone of 39. And then tone 5 starts at 68, ends at 99, and a pitch of 49. They're all at volume 25, apart from the first one, which is your iron tone, which you'll set to the same as what you've got. Let me go to the volume. Oh, I've changed that. I think I'll have it at 4. So your iron volume's 4. Yeah, so tone 1, volume 4. So it's not banging out iron. You still hear the iron in your ears. It's like a little rumble. And then any other targets that are diggers just jump straight out at you. Okay, so go back, write it down, rewind the video, write down what I've said, just put tone 1, tone 2, tone 3, tone 4, and write the numbers down so it's easy for you to put it in then. Ferrous volume, I'll put it up higher for the video, have that at 4. Ferrous pitch will be 1. Ferrous pitch of 1. That's the same as we've set the tone break pitch, so it all sounds the same, the iron. Custom, this is a fun one. Okay, so as soon as you go into the custom on your custom 1, you push left and right and you see the squares move. When you're doing it, it won't look the same as this, but you want it to look the same as this. So you go onto the one that you want to change, push edit, and you can make it go left, right, down, up. Yeah, so the first one, top left square, wants to be 27 and 20, and then push back and push right, go to the next one. So the 54 and 15, the pitch that all wants, the ferrous limit all wants to be 15, same as that one. Doesn't matter where you break it, it could be 79, 78, doesn't matter, as long as you set them all at 15 so it's a straight line. Yeah, that's the one that you break there. So that one's set at 20, 27, 20, and the next 3 is set at 15. Doesn't matter whether you break it. Next, discrimination pattern. Don't really need it, don't use it. Yeah, I've set it at 4, so it's if you do use your discrimination, it gets rid of the coke, but I have the horseshoe off. Recovery speed, like we've just gone through, probably start with 4. Recovery speed, like we've just been through on the video, I'd probably just start with 6. Start with 6, suss the field out. If there's very little iron, you can get away with lowering it, but if there's iron in the ground, you don't want to lower it really, not much, because you'll start losing targets next to the iron. Same as any machine. So yeah, 6 to start with, and don't be afraid to go up to 7 or 8 if there's a lot of iron about, because it will help you get some good targets. Ground balance to suit the ground. Sometimes when you do a ground balance, you do it automatically, manually, whatever, you pump it and it will stop, and it's where it's found the optimum grain balance for you. But if you're then searching across that field and you're getting falsing a lot more, high pitch falsing and stuff, go into your grain balance and just drop it a few until it settles. And then when you bang it against the grass or against the mud, it won't false as much, because you can make a good day's detecting a bad day from listening to all the ground noise. So yeah, grain balance, as it says, try using it. If it's falsing more, go back into your grain balance and just drop it a little bit, just to stabilise it. Noise cancel to suit, and then all this is set in all terrain fast. So the first thing you want to do actually is go to all terrain fast, make sure it's on this mode, and then change the settings. Should have told you that at the start. Keeps you busy, doesn't it? You got to learn the machine anyway. Yeah, and my volume, I've had it on 19 since I've done the little hack with the headphones, with the little earbuds now that I use, connected to the headphones. The volume's absolutely banging super loud. So yeah, that is all of the settings. Okay, that's it. I hope that helps you out. What you've got to realise is, and what you've got to learn, these settings are there to help you get a quick start into the field and learning the machine. But you've also got to put some time and effort in to understand when and where to change the settings to suit the field, to get the most out of that machine. But the settings I've just give you, they work for me. They might not work for you, but they work for me a treat. The signals bang out and I absolutely love it. Love you, baby. The Manticore kicks ass. Before I go, a little tip. I got this power bank, I think it was from Home Bargains or B&M. It's a 10,000 milliamps, 5 volt, 2.1, 5 amp, 2.1 volt power bank. Plug it into there. Use that's this this case is what they'd use for what joggers use, and they put it on their arm, put their iPhones in, and have the pods in, and it fits on there lovely. And you've even got a bit more cushion in there. And then I'll just sellotape the charger onto that, and it just stays on there now. When I don't want it charging, I can just pull that off there, or I can just unconnect it at that end and then slide the lead back into the back of that. Slide the lead back up so it's all out of the rain. That is, I've used it the other day with the power bank. Well, I used it a few weeks ago, and 6.5, 7 hours, and the battery was nearly gone. I was like, what, man, that's no good, especially summer where it's going to be longer days and the sun's out more. So I had to fix it. So I got the power bank, tried that the other day. I had it on from when I started the power bank charging. I had the light on full, the backlight, because really with this you want to be able to see the screen the best you can, so you want the backlight on full. And if you haven't got the battery pack and you've got it on full, it's going to cane the battery. But I had the battery pack on, I had it on full. I even turned the lights on the keys, just to use as much power as I could. And at the end of a 5.5 hours session, the battery was still full, and I still got charge left in my power bank. So that's going to be more than enough. A little bit more weight, obviously. Whatever power bank you buy, the weight of that is going to be the weight on top of the Manticore. You can buy a little adapter. I think it's on eBay. I haven't got it yet, but I am going to get one. It's the charging block without the wire, and all it's got is a USB-C slit, so you can put a smaller lead, thinner lead, because the lead's it's not heavy, but it's an extra weight. So if you can get a thinner lead that goes to your power bank, and that's not as long as that's probably 1 meter long, you can get it just so it's just the right size. You're going to save a bit more weight there. But I use that all day with all the big lead on, the power bank and everything like that, and the weight wasn't an issue anyway. Happy days. Can't wait to get out next. If you like the video, if it's helped you out in any way, drop me a thumbs up, drop me a comment, and let me know how you're getting on. Love to know if you've been going out of the Manticore, you've got other settings that you've found works. You know, we're all learning. I want to learn as well. But for me, so far, the experience I've had, them settings, for me, are kicking ass. Absolutely spanking it.